Nicole Kidman appears to be standing at the threshold of a profound personal transformation following the end of her long marriage to country music star Keith Urban. After nearly 2 decades together, the couple's separation has now moved into a new phase, one defined not only by emotional adjustment but by concrete decisions about where life will unfold next. With legal matters surrounding their 2 daughters largely resolved, the Oscar-winning actress is reportedly giving serious thought to a major relocation, one that would take her and her children thousands of miles away from the life they built in the United States. The custody arrangement has reportedly granted Nicole primary physical custody of Sunday Rose, now 17, and Faith Margaret, 15. This arrangement gives her considerable freedom in determining where the family will live day to day. For many years, the family called Nashville home, a city deeply connected to Keith Urban's thriving music career. Friends and close observers note that Nashville was always more about supporting Keith's professional world than it was about Nicole putting down permanent roots of her own. With that chapter now closed, there no longer seems to be any compelling reason for her to remain anchored in Tennessee. Those familiar with her thinking say the idea of moving back to Australia has gained real momentum in recent months. Australia is, after all, where Nicole was born and raised, and it remains the place where much of her extended family still lives. Several people close to the situation have described her as feeling increasingly unmoored in recent times, a word that captures the sense of drift that can follow the dissolution of a long marriage. Returning to her home country is being viewed not just as a practical choice, but as an emotional homecoming, a way to regain stability and belonging after a turbulent period. Interestingly, this was not always the frontrunner among her relocation options. Only about half a year ago, conversations reportedly centered around Portugal as a potential new base. Portugal had been floated as an attractive destination, beautiful landscapes, a slower pace of life, a welcoming environment for privacy-seeking celebrities, and a relatively convenient distance from both Europe and the United States. Yet something shifted after Nicole made a recent trip back to Australia over the holiday season. Spending time there with family, walking familiar streets, and watching her daughters reconnect with their Australian relatives reportedly changed the calculus. Australia began to feel less like a nostalgic memory and more like the right place to build the next chapter. Her daughters, Sunday and Faith, are said to be fully supportive of the idea. Both teenagers have expressed that what matters most to them is seeing their mother happy and settled. At the same time, they genuinely enjoy Australia, the lifestyle, the connection to extended family, the sense of space and freedom. Multiple people who have spoken about the situation emphasize that the girls are not being pressured into the move. Rather, they are enthusiastic participants in the decision-making process. This alignment within the family unit has reportedly given Nicole added confidence to seriously consider pulling up stakes and heading south. On the other side of the equation, Keith Urban is said to be grappling with deep regret over how things unfolded. After 19 years of marriage, the finalization of the divorce has left him facing a reality he had perhaps not fully anticipated. His daughters living on the opposite side of the planet. The physical distance would make regular in-person contact significantly more difficult, turning what was once a daily or weekly rhythm into something measured in long-haul flights and school holidays. Those close to him describe this prospect as emotionally painful and logistically daunting. Beyond the father-daughter relationship, there is also the symbolic weight of Nicole relocating so far away. For Keith, it represents a final, tangible marker of how decisively their shared life has ended. Insiders have suggested that watching his former wife and children build a new existence on another continent feels like the worst-case outcome of the split from his perspective. He is reportedly struggling to come to terms with both the practical challenges and the emotional finality of such a move. For Nicole, however, the possibility of returning to Australia carries layers of meaning. It would represent a return to her origins after decades spent navigating the demands of Hollywood and the international spotlight. She has always spoken warmly of her Australian upbringing and the values instilled in her there. Many believe the move would allow her to reconnect with that foundational part of her identity while providing her daughters with a broader sense of family and cultural heritage. The decision is not without complications. Relocating internationally involves schooling transitions, friendship adjustments, career considerations, and the inevitable period of settling into a new rhythm. Yet those who know Nicole describe her as someone who has always approached big life changes with clarity and determination once she makes up her mind. If Australia does become the chosen destination, it would mark a decisive break from the American chapter that defines so much of her adult life and family story. In many ways, this potential move symbolizes more than just a change of address. It reflects a woman reclaiming agency over her future after a long period of compromise and partnership. Whether or not the relocation ultimately happens, the fact that it is being seriously discussed signals that Nicole Kidman is ready to write the next major act of her life on her own terms, and possibly on her own native soil.